Hello and welcome to this special interview that we have for you on Money Control. We have with us the CEO of HCL Tech, C. Vijay Kumar, who now is also the managing director after HCL's founder Shiv Nadar stepped down to take on the role of chairman emeritus. Thank you very much, CVK. Of course, joining me on the interview is also my colleague Swati. Thank you for joining us, CVK. So, what really changes for you apart from the designation in terms of roles and responsibilities?
I think, yeah, it's the day-to-day business operations. I was already fully running it, but definitely certain very long-term strategic initiatives. Shiv was very focused on really looking at what would be the next 10 years look like or 15 years look like, and what initiatives that you should kind of lay the foundation on. So I think when he spent 50 years, he's a legend in the industry. So he could really see what is ahead, 10 years ahead, 15 years ahead. So I think he will continue to be available as a strategic advisor, and we will have the benefit of getting his steer on some of these topics. But executing to some of those long-term strategic, very long-term strategic initiatives is a responsibility that I and the rest of the leadership team should carry forward.
Right. CVK, if I look at your numbers for the first quarter, they stood out in the sense that it was lower than peers, but in line with, I think, your own guidance, what you projected. That's the sense that we got from analysts. But if I look at it Q on Q, it's the lowest if I look at the top four IT firms. So, do you expect this trend to continue even in the second quarter? Are there some stress points here, or will things see a rebound? Because you have guided to double-digit growth for the full year.
Yeah, Chandra, we have retained our guidance of double-digit growth. So I expect Q2 to be a strong quarter. Q1 was, we planned it to be a little lesser due to various dynamics in the business, whether it is transitions getting completed or projects getting completed and things like that. All of that were factored in when we gave the guidance. But we came a little below our own expectations because there was some unanticipated impact due to wave two, where we had allowed pandemic leaves for our employees. We gave this pandemic leave as an additional leave in addition to the kitty of leaves that everybody had. So which means it's going to result in a direct billing loss. So I think that had some impact. That's why we came even below our own expectations. But we are very confident to make up and deliver to the overall double-digit growth that we had committed.
Right. Swati?
CVK, compared to the industry, you have not given the exact double digit. Infosys has said mid to high teens, but you but you mentioned in the earnings call, it will be low double digit, around 10%. So is there any particular factor that stops you from giving a more generous guidance? If you can elaborate a little on that.
See, we consciously don't want to give a very specific guidance because that, I believe, focuses the team on a very short-term objective. I want the teams to focus on mid to long-term objectives. So the right metric to keep tracking would be the booking, because booking eventually converts to revenue. And then also look at the headcount. If you look at the headcount, how it is moving, that also eventually translates to revenue. So that way we want to focus the teams, the front-end teams, more towards booking, and revenue will follow. It's just a matter of time. So that's the approach we have taken. We think this is a better long-term approach and a better use of management time than just chasing the quarterly number to the dot. That's the approach we're taking.
CVK, in the near term, do you also see margins coming under pressure? One, of course, is rising employee costs due to wages, and also the fact that, travel seems to be coming back. At least what I hear is on-site teams have begun to travel, on work, on meetings and everything. So, how is this going to affect the margin picture going forward?
Uh, See, we factored all that in our 19 to 21% margin band. So some of the wage inflation, some of the travel costs coming back, all of that is factored in. And we are also planning to hire 22,000 fresh talent across the world, not just in India. So I think as they come into the workforce, they get trained and they get deployed, then some of the talent cost pressures may moderate a little bit. And then this quarter we had some one-off impact due to pandemic and things like that. So that will also moderate into the next quarter. So we feel pretty confident of delivering to the guided range.
And any reason why sorry, Swati, I'll just complete this question. We also saw the TCV number, I think, coming down Q on Q. So again, I mean, was that a deliberate strategy, or is it, lumpiness in accounts? Do you again see this rebounding the next quarter? Are there particular segments, industries that are taking time to close out, certain clients taking time to close out? What's happening there?
Uh, Chandra, the right way to look at even bookings is also year on year, not quarter on quarter. If you compare it to the first quarter of FY21
It's
to the first
risen.
quarter of FY22, it was a good 37% increase.
Yeah.
And usually the Q4 is a peak, and that's why last quarter was a $3 billion booking. So we believe overall full year our bookings will be better than what we had in the previous year. So there is enough pipeline. Pipeline is at its highest. So they will convert, and our win ratios are very good. All this augurs to very strong bookings this year.
CVK, you compared this quarters with the previous quarter, right? But the last year was the pandemic first quarter, the April to June. Would that be a fair comparison to make? That is
I'll explain that. So that's why I said you can also take the first quarter of FY20, because between the first quarter of FY20 and first quarter of FY21, it was more or less flat, because usually you would have expected an increase, but it was flat. But I think that has been made up by the 37%. So if you take an average, it's like 17-18% per year. So that is the right rate. If you take a 2-year view, then that addresses your concern.
And one more I wanted to ask was that, see, you had guided for just 10%. So your peer, which you overtook in FY19 Wipro, is looking at closing the $10 billion cap in this quarter rather. So how do you see that? I mean, you have been able to retain the gap between the two companies and that crossing you. Could you share your thoughts on that?
I cannot really comment on others, but obviously at any point, people will reach new milestones. We will continue to grow well, and I don't want to compare with anyone. I think we want to do our best possible, Swati.
Does it sort of put pressure on you, CVK? I mean, Wipro has made a big acquisition. Today they are saying they're going to invest 1 billion in cloud over the next 3 years. So is that pecking order running in your mind again?
See, we were not working towards the pecking order in any case. So I think we want to do our best and be the best version of ourselves. I don't want to compare with anyone.
And CVK, I mean, compared to the other players, you had a different play with platforms and products and platforms as a more significant play. And during your earnings call yesterday, you talked about Industry Software Group and HCL, which is a SaaS play. And now I think there was a press release which talked about, HCL Soft, the cloud, and that is the way I see things are going. I mean, Infosys Cobalt and HCL Tech's Full Strike. So how do you see that playing out? Do you have a specific playbook? And you mentioned how this is going to be a future growth driver in the next coming years. So could you share more light on the playbook you're looking at with these two?
Yeah, great question, Swati. See, if you look at our products and platform, it had a lot of stable products, and we are modernizing them and trying to build a growth trajectory on that. But we are adding some of these next generation kind of offerings. Like HCL now is the SaaS version of all the mature products that we had. like Commerce or Unica, marketing automation, BigFix. All of them customers can deploy in a cloud of their choice. So we have built the product in a cloud agnostic manner. So that is real. And the HCL now is not only product, but the end-to-end service. So it's really bringing the best of HCL to deliver an end outcome. So that's one. And then traditionally, we had a very strong product engineering capability in our engineering services division, and they had built some good products. Like in telecom space, we have a 5G product which is really cutting edge, and we had acquired some products from Cisco as well, Cisco SON. So we are combining all this and defining a group called as Industry Software Group. It will focus on three areas. One is telecom, where 5G is the focus. Then in manufacturing, Industry 4.0 type of products is the focus, and in enterprise cloud. So these three areas, either through partnerships or through our own investments, we want to build products. So I think once you do this, this also adds another growth engine to the overall products and platform business.
Vicky, what about the investment? So last time when we spoke, you said you are investing 1% for each geography. I mean, on the geographies and building capabilities. So would it be fair to assume that around 200 million will be your investment in expanding your newer geographies, not just the last five I had mentioned, but also South Korea, Mexico, the newer geographies you're going after?
Right. So our investments had multiple things. One is new geographies, and also strengthening the sales teams in our products and platform business, and also building a little more digital engineering capabilities on the engineering and R&D side. So these three together was that 1% incremental investments that we were making. So if you take it over 2 years, then it is 200 million. You're right.
Final question from my end, CVK, and then maybe Swati can conclude. When we look at the numbers by companies, the numbers they've added, the freshers they are projecting, as a veteran of the industry, would you say that, this is perhaps the return of the great Indian IT hiring boom? Does it remind you of, say, what happened a decade ago when companies saw double-digit growth? Would you say this is an inflection point again for the industry, which was just beginning to mature? People started wondering, is there further upside? And then companies are back to double-digit growth on their huge base. They are hiring tens of thousands of people. So would you call this the return of the great Indian IT hiring boom?
Yeah, that's how it feels, Chandra. It seems very much like what we saw about 10 years back when there was a huge uptick in a lot of these areas. That's how it feels. The demand for talent is so high. Everybody is keeping 2 offers, 3 offers. They decide to join which company in the last minute. So it feels very similar to what we saw 10 years back.
But is it, a more intense for this time around because you have so many other stakeholders to compete with? You have to compete with the hyperscalers, you have to compete with MNCs, you have to compete with startups. So has it become that much more intense?
Yes, I do agree. The competition from multiple angles have increased compared to what you would have seen about 10 years back. But I think Indian IT continues to maintain its edge in terms of talent, quality of work, how we handle the client relationships. Uh, all of that, I think we stand out significantly. So I'm sure that will help us in this intense competitive phase.
Right.
And one last question from me. So the deal momentum, I mean, the industry commentary is that it is at an all-time high. It is very robust. But do you see that sustaining? How sustainable is this deal momentum, and even the freshers you're hiring? It's at the peak right now. So how sustainable is that? And you're also changing your playbook when it comes to hiring and training of freshers. You're looking at 70% freshers and 30% laterals, at least in the next 2 to 3 years. If we can just talk about the outlook, the sustainability you're seeing right now, it's at the peak. So how sustainable these are in the coming quarters?
At least next few quarters, I think this demand pattern is going to continue. Obviously, it won't continue at the same pace. It may moderate a little bit. But I think the overall trend towards digitization is going into multiple domains. It's not just front office, back office, and core enterprise applications, but on the industrial front, like smart manufacturing, connected factories, Industry 4.0, IT OT integration. So these are other areas where digitization is taking deeper roads. So all of that will drive this momentum to continue for some more time.
Thank you so much for your time on Money Control and taking us through the results and the outlook going forward. And here's wishing you the best in your role as Managing Director in addition to CEO. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
and
you.
stay safe. Take care.